Alright, hey guys, I'm back with another one. Now in this video is gonna be a react video to Hypnotic's video on Texas Senate Bill 20, getting Dragon Ball removed from comic stores out of fear. The title did intrigue me, so I was curious to see what it was about, so I'm gonna go ahead and adjust the volume so that I can speak over it as well. So yeah, I'm gonna put it at 30%. Gotta turn on subs, gotta make sure. Alright.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, in today's video, this is one of those situations where I wish I was wrong, but unfortunately, it seems like I was not. You guys remember the SB20 bill that we talked about in Texas? That bill that was very vaguely targeting cartoon imagery regarding anything that would be deemed as childlike. Remember that? Well, apparently, people would commenting on my video, calling me grifter, liar, all kinds of stuff, right?
That's unfortunate.
Because they were saying, no way, this is not going to come for anime. This is only going after illegal content
What was
like
happening?
CP and cartoon CP imagery. This is not going after anime. Stop lying to people. Stop rage baiting. Stop fear mongering. Well, you're not going to apologize, are you? You're not going to leave a comment right now and say that you were wrong. I highly doubt that. But guess
Ha!
what? We're going to make a video anyway. So we have a article here from Screen Rant talking about how, due to the new Texas law, this is now forcing some Dragon Ball off of store shelves. Now, you're probably asking yourself, well, why are they removing Dragon Ball, right? Dragon Ball's regular anime. Dragon Ball's regular manga. It's not
Is it
Guna
though?
material. It's not CP. It's not any of that. Well, it goes to show you don't actually know shit about manga, unfortunately. So the reason why they are removing this stuff off of store shelves, and we're going to get into their reason, but the reason that I'm going to tell you is because in the original manga, Bulma and Goku, by the way, Goku's seen running around without underwear, like his little peepees running around.
Uh,
But Bulma was also nude multiple times in the original manga. And she obviously was not of age in the original manga because Master Roshi was gooning after her anyway. And that work was kept legit in the English versions. It wasn't censored or anything. They kept it 100% legit. So because of that, that kind of content due to this new law could be vaguely targeted. This is the kind of
the
content that can be
river.
targeted in your regular anime. Are you a fan of Evangelion? Well, how old do you think Shinji is? How old do you think Masato is, who goons after Shinji in the beginning of the anime? How old do you think Asuka is? Yeah, figure that shit out, right? So, in any case, apparently, according to Texas' latest wave of legislation, is now making waves in unexpected places, including comic book stores and the Dragon Ball manga. A recently enacted law, Senate Bill 20, SB20, is intended to combat obscene imagery.
Funny how this law only happens to go into effect after Akira Toriyama. Akira Toriyama has passed already. And so now they put this law in effect, and one of the first series they go after is Dragon Ball. The irony and the timing is crazy, actually. That's so crazy.
Including material generated by artificial intelligence. However, its broad language has left retailers worried about how beloved works of popular culture might suddenly fall under scrutiny. Now, see, here's the problem, okay? Here's the problem. When it comes to this bill, and many bills like it, these bills are so vague. And this is what I was really harping on in my first video. But people, unfortunately, they wanted to not face reality so bad that they rather attack me than face the reality of what's actually going down right now, and especially going down literally right now in Texas. But the reality of this bill is that it's so vague that they can literally just claim anything is childlike and get it taken down. Even if it's not childlike, they could get it taken down. There is a lot of anime, especially older anime and manga, that would be
Damn.
deemed problematic now that could get banned in the state of Texas because some Karen thinks it's not safe for people, right? That's basically it. So now apparently that concern became a reality for one comic book shop in Westlaco, Texas. Andrew Balderas, manager of Kaboom Comics, recently pulled volumes
Ooh.
of Dragon Ball Z from the shelves, according to Valley Central. Though the depictions in question are rare and framed for humor, which, by the way, yes, obviously the whole Bulma being gooned after Master Roshi and Goku running around without his underwear on, chasing whatever, like that shit is obviously for comedic effect. But the simple truth is that they don't care. They don't give a fuck. They don't care about the context of the story. These Karens don't care about any of that. All they want to see is, oh, this has problematic content that I don't like, that I want banned. Well, ban it. That's basically it. Get rid of it. These are the same people, by the way, that banned Assassination Classroom for years until it just recently got reversed. But it's been banned for a long time, all because they saw the name of the manga. They're like, well, that's problematic. We are experiencing school shootings right now. We can't have a manga that's called Assassination Classroom, even though it's a story about a classroom being trained to kill a fucking alien that is threatening to destroy the earth. But regardless, they still have to make it something that it's not. So, in any case, though the depictions in question are rare and framed for humor, he chose to act cautiously rather than risk violating the new law. The move shows how vague legal standards can impact creative works never meant to cross the line in the first place. SB20 passed the overwhelming support in the Texas legislature earlier this year. Its aim was to crack down on obscene content involving children, particularly images created with using new technologies like AI. Lawmakers argued that keeping ahead of rapid technological changes required updating existing obscenity laws to cover not just real photographs, but also illustrations, cartoons, and computer generated material. Now, okay, I'm going to put it to you like this: there's a lot of nuance to this conversation. There's a lot of nuance to this argument. I could see both sides to the argument. There are some cartoons that are drawn that are highly sus, right? That are so obviously depicting a child, right? And they'll try to utilize the whole 1,000-year-old whatever to try to, lie about the depiction of it being a child. But then I also see the other side of the argument, whereas it's a fucking cartoon. It doesn't have, it's not real. It doesn't have an age. It's not a real person. Nobody's actually, there's nobody being harmed here, whatever. I get both sides of the argument. And again, for me, even though the content's not for me, I get both sides. But at the end of the day, this is going to go well past that. They're always going to start with the most obscene stuff, the stuff that half the people don't want to defend. They're always going to start with that. And they're going to end with something that everybody likes, which is like Dragon Ball Z, for example, or Dragon Ball, for example, right? They're going to always do this. It's a stepping stone. It's never the
It's always
final,
gonna
it's never
go
the final
crazy.
fight. Any of this stuff is never the final fight. They're going to continue to go after things until eventually they got rid of everything that the average Joe actually enjoys. That's really what this is.
Yeah, that's
You give an inch,
unfortunate.
you take a mile kind of a situation. But in this case, they're taking entire football fields at this point.
It's crazy to see how far this goes. Because if we just look up Murphy's Law, right? Murphy's Murphy's Law. Hold on. Sorry about that. Murphy's Law states whatever can go wrong, okay? It is happening. Alright, yeah. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And now with all these laws going through in Texas, many things can happen going forward that are going to cause a bunch of overreach. And this is going to reach into just about anything at this point. And that's kind of scary to think about for most people. And it'll only get worse as long as we let it happen.
So the challenge lies in the bill's wording specifically. It specifies that depictions can be illegal regardless of whether the depiction is an image of an actual child, a
Brother,
cartoon,
what?
an animation, or an image created using AI. That broad phrasing means fictional
Too
works like
broad.
manga or anime can technically fall within its scope if they meet the obscenity test. Critics argue that this creates
Obscenity
confusion for
test.
retailers and fans alike. While most people support restricting AI generated harmful imagery, the possibility of traditional comics or anime being targeted feels like collateral damage.
It only feels natural when it's AI works, right? Yeah, sure. That's just more excuses.
And that is right there what the main point of my
Look at
entire
that
first video
hypocrisy,
was.
bro.
All I'm trying to say is that the wording of this bill is not done in the favor of people who enjoy anime or manga. It is done in the favor of the people who want that shit banned. The reason why is because it's so vague. It can literally mean damn near anything, right? So at this point, you
Mm.
can actually see this stuff getting banned in real time. And it's because the wording is so vague that content like early Dragon Ball or some of the Dragon Ball Z stuff could be banned as well.
The
That's just how
Texans
it
need
goes.
to try to get this repealed as soon as possible, but we'll see what happens. Texans have to rise up. I don't live in Texas, but I can see the issues of this spreading across the US if nothing is undone to stop it. So that's a massive problem that must be addressed
Balderas, for instance, says Dragon
before it's too late.
Ball Z was never intended to sexualize its young characters, but the letter of the law left him with few options but to play it safe. The removal of Dragon Ball Z volumes highlights the unintended consequences of SB20. The franchise, one of the most popular Japanese exports worldwide, occasionally
Hmm.
features its main character Goku shown unclothed as a child. These moments were created decades ago in a comedic context, not
And they have to stop somewhere, man.
for exploitation. Still, under the law's vague standards, they risk being misinterpreted. For Balderas, the decision wasn't easy. He acknowledged that customers rarely brought up the law and that most fans likely wouldn't view the older volumes as offensive. Yet, as a business owner, the possibility of criminal liability, even on a technicality, was too serious to ignore. Removing the books was a precautionary measure to protect both himself and his store. The case reflects
Cowering in fear before it even took effect. Now that's crazy. Because this law should not be touching works that have already been established decades ago, alright? Like, if it's gonna hit new stuff, sure, that would make more sense, but already completed works should not be touched. At this point, it is 2025, almost
a larger concern
2026. The fact that we're still having to see stuff like this happen is beyond me. But we can only hope that Texas gets this law repealed with enough pushback, but we'll see. It's up to the Texans now.
across the comic and anime retail industry. Store managers may now have to carefully comb through decades of material to identify scenes that might
Decades.
get flagged. Given how vast and diverse these franchises are, ensuring
Right.
compliance becomes a nearly impossible task. As Balderas noted, nobody can realistically review every single panel across hundreds of series. So I want to keep in mind
It's not
that
even
sure
worth
there's going to be a
doing.
lot of stuff that slips through the cracks because there's a lot of content that they have to go through. But there are groups out there like Collective Shout that will do the sifting through for them, right? These women are bored. Okay. They don't have a single fucking thing going on in their life. The most excitement that they get on a daily basis is how much things they can take away from people that enjoy them. That's what they get off on. The more they can ban things, the more they can censor things, the more they can take away things from people. That's what they live for. So they're going to spend every waking moment of their day looking through content that they want to get banned. So the moment groups like that
That's
find out
crazy.
about content like Evangelion, for example, or content like Dragon Ball, for example, or even Inuyasha to a certain extent, anytime
Ah,
they find
dang.
content like that, guess what's going to happen? Oh, it's going to be a clusterfuck. They're going to ask
Bourbon up Inuyasha, man. No, that's crazy, brother. That is crazy.
for all types of banning to be happening. So that is
Yeah, it's only gonna get worse until it gets
the
better.
biggest problem. It's not necessarily the stores that have to comb through everything. It's hate groups that want to get this all taken down that are going to do the combing through for them. So all I'm saying is that unfortunately, this is starting to affect the content that people said that it wasn't going to affect.
We're so cooked.
There was hundreds of comments on my video that I made about SB20 saying how wrong I was, how much of a grifter I was, how much of a rage baiter I was, how much of a fear monger I was. And I just sat there and laughed at all of them because I knew eventually a story was going to come out that was going to prove me right. And people who were talking like me right as well. Shout out to Chibi Reviews. He was also another person saying the same exact thing. And now look at us. Here we are. going through this. This is the first of many that is going to be happening in Texas as long as this bill continues to go with vague wording. If they want to alter the bill to specifically mention certain things, then let them do that and let the law follow through. But at that point, everything is so vague that it's not even just going to target anime and manga. This is also going to target other cartoon imagery as well. And any kind of American cartoon that people may like that might be a little bit too problematic, well, that could be subject to the ban as well. You
Well,
never
that
know. Your hands, your collection, your manga collection, your anime collection is in the hands of Karens. Does that really sound like something that sounds enticing to you?
I guess now it's time to buy physical copies of manga before it's too late. Like now's the time because who knows just how long until they start affecting digital copies of manga as well. Like they can ban the physical books already. It's only a matter of time before they start going after digital copies. But we'll see how effective that is.
Because it sure as hell does not sound enticing to me, considering I have over
Mm-mm-mm.
2,000 mangas in my collection. The last thing I want is for a Karen to determine what's allowed in my collection or not. So you guys can let me know in the comments down below.
Damn.
What do you think about this entire nonsense regarding the banning or potential banning of Dragon Ball, considering the problematic imagery under the new law? Let me know.
Problematic. I watched that. I watched Dragon Ball ages ago, man. I watched that when I was still in what, middle school. Uh, yeah, right. Like problematic. What? Man, comedy really has fallen off to the point where we're here at this point today, where Dragon Ball copies of that one scene from ages ago was discovered by Karens, and a
In the
new
comments down
Senate
below.
bill is gonna go ahead and wipe it out for no reason at this point. Like their bill is nothing but excuses to do whatever they want. And that's unfortunate, and this cannot be let to stand. The author who wrote the series is now deceased. Now they want to bring out a law that would ban his work. Like that's crazy and disrespect on Akira Toriyama. Like that's crazy that they would even go this far after the man has just passed. That's crazy. And they're not gonna stop there either. All the manga series he
Do you
mentioned
agree
could
with
get
the store
hit.
owner in preemptively taking down this stuff to protect his business? Let me know what your thoughts are.
That's just the first of many to be taken down before they can affect their business. Pretty much like Stam and Itch.io, who took down all of their NSFW works as well. So it's only gonna get worse before it gets better, guys. If you guys can rise up and do it in Texas and stop this before it gets worse, I implore you to do so. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.